You're not going to be perfect at rating your perceived exertion or your reps in reserve for a while when you start using those systems. It's okay. There's three big things you can do when it comes to reps in reserve, rated perceived exertion, and just the subjective indicators that we use in training. The first thing is just to stop caring so much. It's part of a lot of the people that I work with, like, mindset to be honestly oriented towards some degree of like perfection and certainty. And that's okay. I think that's a big part of being a human. But honestly, like, these metrics that we're using, they're just to be a proxy for challenge, right? One of the most important concepts you can really nail down in training is like going into rep ranges and loads that provide a stimulus but don't necessarily like annihilate you, right? Because we want to train hard, but we don't want to train so hard that we can train again in the not too distant future. And so reps in reserve, rating perceived exertion, they're just a way to subjectively assess how hard things were, how many more reps we feel like we could do without actually failing all the time. And to be honest, sometimes you have to like fail a set. Do we want to do that very often? No. Do we really want to do that on a regular basis? It kind of depends on your psyche. Some people, if they fail a set, it messes them up for a while, right? So what we want to do is figure out what's going to work for you. And usually some amount of like a few reps in the tank consistently is what really seems to benefit most people, because you're hitting reps that challenge you, are requiring a lot of motor unit recruitment, and you aren't failing, right? So those are huge components of this. So the first thing is just to care a little bit less, just to realize that training is a long-term pursuit. You're probably never going to stop training to some extent. So just be okay with a little bit of uncertainty, right? And realize that reps in reserve, RPE, are subjective indicators that go along with the weight on the bar, right? We're always assessing, like, is the weight on the bar going up over time? And over time might mean weeks, right? Not necessarily week to week, but like every 4 to 6 weeks. Are things improving? Is your ability to do what you want in life improving? Do you feel good? If the weight on the bar is going up, but you feel like shit, your body's not adapting super well to the stimulus. You're just able to like kind of grind things out for a little while. So there's a lot of subjectivity in all this, but the first thing is just to care less. The second, more tactical thing is to do ramp up sets. So doing a set of 3 at RPE 6, a set of 3 at RPE 7, and a set of 3 at RPE 8 allows you to kind of triangulate, oh, okay, yeah, was that 4 reps in reserve? Was that 3 reps in reserve? Was that 2 reps in reserve? It's just a simple strategy for getting better at this over time. If you do ramp up sets for 3 to 4 months, you're going to get a lot better at rating your reps in reserve and your RPE. And that's really powerful. And then just if you combine that with the first thing I mentioned, which is just caring a little bit less, you're going to get a lot of good data, and you're going to get better at rating your RPE over time. Finally, the other big thing is to just do as many reps as possible with maybe an RPE cap, but honestly, as many reps as possible sets, where like you do what I just mentioned, which is like a ramp up set, and then you take the weight that you did for your RPE 6 set or your RPE 7 set. Honestly, the further away from failure you can be at the beginning, probably the better, just to manage fatigue. And then you just do as many reps as possible. So if you do 4 reps at RPE 6 at the beginning of that, and then you go back and you hit it again at the end of your buildups, and you do 12 reps, you know that you undershot. And if we do that on a somewhat regular basis, we can get a better understanding of where we're actually judging our reps in reserve and RPE. So none of this is perfect. That's not the goal. The goal is to help you train in a way that's sustainable so that you can make long-term progress without burning yourself out, without getting injured, without bringing on too much fatigue, so that you can perform. Those are the big ones. There's a ton of other ways to manipulate this, but a lot of it's practice. Practice is probably the most important piece of all of this. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate it. That's all I have for today. Peace.